Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, November 13th. This is the latest meeting of Municipal Facilities Optimization Committee. We have a quorum. This meeting is called to order. First on the agenda, we have the minutes from September 23rd, October 9, October 23rd, and October 30th. Can we take those all as one item? Or do we have to do them separately?
Do them jointly.
We can do them jointly? All right, why don't we do
Jointly.
them jointly? Any questions or comments on the minutes? I have one item.
Okay.
On the October 9th
Yep.
meeting, item number 8, if I can find it here. I think it was item 8. That was September 23rd, sorry about that, let me get to it.
Don't worry about it. Apologize.
It's all right. Nice. We just started.
Item number 8, second sentence, it says, Mr. Baldinger advised that the 60% design costs are approved. I think we just want to
If.
say if
Yes.
they're approved.
Yep.
That's all I have.
I will insert that if the 60% is
It's a small word, but it's a big
important.
word at the
But
same
it's a
Yes,
big-
yes.
It's a small
Thank you
word,
for
but it's
that.
a big one.
No problem.
Catch.
Anything else on the minutes?
Nope.
Do we have a motion to approve as amended?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of meeting from September 23rd, October 9th, and October 23rd, and October 30th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from September 23rd, October 9th, October 23rd, and October 30th as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Next, we have one bill to pay, and it is to Vertex Companies, $23,295. Any questions?
I have one. Where do we stand overall with Vertex and the cost? Are we I mean, I know I have got the spreadsheet. How much money do we have left?
Enough to get through to this phase, which is soon to end. And then the next approval will get us through the 60% documents.
Mhm.
Okay,
So the exact penny, honestly, I have to look at the updated report to see exactly what the billing is. Yeah, to go through that to see, yeah, that's the most current one.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in November, there's another bill due. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all. I'm fine.
Pretty good?
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the listed bill, Vertex Companies, for $23,295. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. And since it's just been paid, we have an update from the owner's project manager. Steve,
Hang over here.
the floor is yours.
So thank you. We have effort in a few different directions right now. One is to get the next designer scope of work finished and outlined so that this next phase, the contract amendment document is all set. You can expect to receive it tomorrow. Tomorrow
Okay.
morning is when you guys will see it. To get that draft in, we'd hope to get out by the end of the day today. Didn't quite happen, but it will be out tomorrow morning. So that's the status for that. The town hall document report was received 2 days ago? Yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yesterday.
Yesterday morning, yes,
Yep.
thank you. And we've gone through that, reviewed that, a couple of things we're running down with some questions on that. We also received, with that request as part of that review, some additional documents today, some lists and some plans and other things that we needed to accompany that report. One last item we're looking for there that I requested later this afternoon. So that's coming along. Finally, that report is in good shape. Last item, CM at risk status. Applications are all in and acknowledged as received. No other comment, which is good. That's where that stands. Standard practice when things are going well, and that's where things are.
Good news. Any questions? No, hi Tim.
Oh,
I didn't see you come in.
yeah, I'm a small guy.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question? When we had last week,
Mhm.
we're gonna make a request about the CM at risk and seeing if that December deadline was going to be met or if we could jump the queue since they knew the process
Yes.
before.
John Lemieux handles the CM at risk process. He's asked that question. He doesn't have any feedback back. I'll check with him tomorrow morning to see if you can push that further.
Right.
But yes, good, thank you for mentioning that.
Just a question on, the asbestos. There was a recommendation in the report to look for more asbestos contamination that might need to be remediated
In town hall.
in
Yeah.
town hall.
Yes, so, prior to, so we didn't get the information to the designer, we had to search for it, because we have a complete AHERA report for that building. And it was just found Thursday, I think Joe found it. So we're gonna get that scanned, and we'll make sure that, through the next process, that the designer.
So that would be, that, my question was the
Designer.
budget, like, is it that? Didn't want a big surprise at the end.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I was pretty confident of where it is in the building and made sure the designer knew where that was. But I actually have the full report with quantities and everything in it
Excellent.
already.
And carry 125 in that.
Yeah.
Are you talking on the back page? I think it's
Yeah.
125 for
Yeah.
asbestos. I think he just wagged at it a little bit, but
Yeah.
The
square
underneath the
footage.
carpet, underneath the
Time.
carpet, they know it's
so
there,
there's
but.
significant in the first floor of that building, there's a fair amount of the flooring that has asbestos tile underneath it. And then anywhere there's a hard ceiling in that building on the first floor, which includes the hallways, clerk's office, town manager's office, and maybe one or two other small spaces. The popcorn that they put on the
Yep.
sheetrock has asbestos in it.
Yeah.
Needs to be mitigated.
Very good.
Nothing on insulation, no other insulation in any of the mechanicals or anything. There's no asbestos, they didn't find anything.
No.
It's usually where
Most,
they
most
go.
of, pretty much everything above the ceiling has been changed at least one time, so
Okay.
asbestos is limited up there.
Good. Anything else on the owner's project manager update?
Nothing further?
No? Any other questions? No? All right, very good. We'll move on. Item 5. Any necessary preparation for the November 18th, 2024 special town meeting?
So, today I shared with you, and I'm pretty confident most of you have already seen it anyways, but I shared you the presentation from FinCom and the vote from FinCom, so that you saw all the questions that we were asked. Generally speaking, our presentation at town meeting will be somewhat similar. There'll be some more narrative so that we can respond to some of the questions that we did get. I think one difference for that is, we'll ask the chair, if you could do the opening.
Yep.
To talk a little bit about the history over the past 5 months now on what MFOC has done and, and who the committee members are, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, so I have the statement from the select board.
Yep.
I was just gonna use the same thing.
Yeah, it can be very similar, and I can work on that with you between now and Monday.
Okay.
Because it can probably be pared down a little bit, so we're not repeating some of that in the actual
All right.
presentation. But, so that's that. We'll add some more, we'll have a fair amount of backup slides also to answer questions as needed. And then I would like the board's feedback on the last 2 presentations. What do you think it may be missing? And anything else we could add. And I think part of it is to somewhat keep it somewhat simple, easy to understand. We know that one of the questions comes up is about splitting town hall from the DPW project. So we've done a fair amount of work on that to answer those questions. We have, I think we did a pretty good job at FinCom answering those too. I think we'll just polish that a little bit. But that's kind of the big one that struck us out of that meeting, so.
One of the things out of that finance committee meeting was, a member of the public had said that, we could just fix up the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an idea of what the cost would be to fix up the buildings? Understanding that there's not an easy way to fix
Yeah.
water and sewer, but is there an estimate? Because I think what I'm trying to show is, right, that we're making a financial decision to invest in a long-term solution rather than put Band-Aids on for a short term, because it would be, in my opinion, a better use of taxpayer dollars.
So I think and I know that Steve, I know that you did the did the exercise when we talked about, renovation costs versus new building costs. So we probably have a pretty good number for renovating the highway garage as it is. I don't think we've ever gone through that true analysis for the water and sewer garage.
I think it's two parts to that good question. The program has components that aren't in that building. You know, like the locker facilities are larger and expanded, it has the male and female areas and all that. And I think the part of the thought process was if we had that combined and adjacent facilities in this new plan, you can't really accomplish that space-wise in the existing buildings. So I think that was part of that decision. It just wasn't feasible to achieve the program in the existing buildings as well.
I think when we get the questions at like a public hearing like this, people are less interested in the program and more interested in just fix the building because it'll be less expensive than
Sure.
doing anything new.
Yeah, I understood.
So I think if we were just able to say that roughly we're going to spend X million dollars
Yep.
to make the building usable with no other changes, right? And I think that's kind of also similar to the town hall, right? We're going to spend X number of dollars to replace the HVAC system. And I also think it's important for people to understand that that doesn't mean we're putting air conditioning into town hall. It means, the heating, the ventilation, and the air. Like town hall is already air conditioned, so we're replacing a 27-year-old system, and how, if you were to do that using a capital budget, how that
Right.
then takes away from other things that you're able to do, which is why we would want to exclude it as debt. I mean, I know it's a lot because everything's so interconnected, but I do think there are people who are going to say, okay, and I hate to put a number, it's X amount of dollars if I want to just fix what we have and hobble along for the next 5 years, or for X number of dollars more, we can have a solution that's going to last us into the future for decades. I think what I've seen in the past from Shrewsbury voters is that they will choose the solution that is a better use of their tax dollars.
And so I think for town hall, the answer is not difficult, and this is one of those pieces that I wish I articulated earlier on, right? So in 2021, we used ARPA funds to develop a plan to replace the HVAC system in town hall. Once we got through design, we stopped the process because to replace the HVAC required us to do many other things in the building, including asbestos mitigation, including fire alarm upgrade, sprinkler system, including the ADA accessible bathrooms, because we got to a certain value threshold related to the building code that we had to do that work anyways, right? And so, the reality is we're not really doing anything more than that now. We are doing some space optimization and some technology upgrades, but the lion's share of the work that we're doing in that building is a result of having to replace the HVAC system. And that's where the 3/4 of the cost is. So if we were just to replace the HVAC system and then have to do all that associated work, we might be at $3+ million anyways, which is why we stopped back then, because we didn't think it was a good use of
ARPA
funds,
dollars.
ARPA
Yep.
dollars. So that's I think I can answer that question well at town meeting.
It sounds like that part of it sounds like the perfect.
Yeah, but to
Yeah.
Stephen's point, like for the highway, South Street buildings, it's a little bit different, right? Like, if we're renovating the highway garage, we would essentially have to renovate it as is, because we would be taking programming space away. But then we're gonna put a certain amount of dollars into that building, which triggers other compliance issues
Right.
that we would have to do anyways. So ultimately, the building would end up with less programming space, and it'll get the bathroom upgrades and all of that stuff that we really want, but it's gonna take away from the rest of the building, and we still have, now we have truly no room and not even close to enough room for what we need. And then we don't address the water and sewer.
I mean, programming space, I think we need to define that a little bit. What is that? Because that's a really building committee term.
Sure. And I think it's, Programming just means the uses that are
Right.
within the building, right? So,
Right.
you know, you have the highway division, parks division, you have garage space, you have fleet maintenance space, but then you have, bath and shower space, you have break room space, and then, office space. Like, so those are kind of the different levels of programming. Am I missing anything there? Steve?
Truck wash bay, that's the only thing.
Truck wash bay, right.
Somebody thought that was out, but it's
Yeah.
actually in.
It's
It's
in,
it's an
yep.
important thing to have, to
Yep.
protect the life, useful life of a piece of equipment, you
Mhm.
need to have that. You need to keep the vehicles clean to
Yep.
save money.
Yeah.
It's an odd thing, but just a simple thing like that
And
can
people can
extend a life.
look back to previous town meetings and see how much a truck is. You
Oh, yeah.
know, $300,000+ for a truck is,
Right. And in the long run, I
Keep
think to
around.
have one building in terms of efficiencies, in terms of mechanical, in terms of plumbing, in terms of utilities, codes, as opposed to having two separate buildings, you're gonna, in the long run, you're just gonna spend a whole lot more.
and literally having the building, one building, like, it reduces all of that other space. Like, you don't have two sets of showers in two different buildings, like, you have all of that combined to
Right.
serve the 50 or so
Yeah.
people that work
Yeah.
there.
And was that part of the presentation?
Will be now.
I mean, I think we're just gonna get the question either way.
Yep.
And then I also think it's possible that there might be a motion on the floor to try to separate the two and
Mhm.
create a substitute motion.
Right.
But, you know, we talked about it last night, right, when we did the police station, there was an add-on of a $5 million emergency communication system. Because those kinds of things are too big to come out of the operating or capital budget, but too small to be their own standalone borrowing. When you look over the course of a borrowing, it's dollars on the overall
Right.
cost. And I think someone may ask, well, what if we just did the South Street,
Mhm.
right? What would be my impact on the tax bill versus adding in the town hall to see that it's dollars, right? It's negligible
Mhm.
over the course of the 20 years.
And that's a piece that we discussed, after the meeting last night, is presenting that in two different forms, because we expect that question to split them, so we'll show the cost between the two. The part about that, though, is the cost actually goes up, because, yes, we may not be doing, so say town hall is separated out, we're gonna do it, right, the DPW garage value stays the same, but when we go to do town hall by itself, that number is gonna go up. And it's gonna go up because the biggest driver, and I've asked Vertex to do a little analysis on this for us using some other projects, is cost of swing space. You know, because when we're renovating town hall, or we build South Street, staff on the second floor moves to from town hall to South Street, and we are able to utilize that second floor for swing space as we do the other wings of the building to repair them. And there's a significant cost there when you have to rent a 10,000 square foot space or more for 18 months while a project's being done. So, the cost, and then there's the whole, borrowing cost that town manager spoke of last night, plus the whole other procurement process, because it would be it could potentially be a different designer, different OPM, different, construction manager, because it would be at a different point in time. And it may be that far away, the point of time that the value is gonna go up anyways, just with,
Right.
normal,
Escalation.
escalation.
Let me ask Steve, can you actually, I think Beth, you're saying take both buildings and try to renovate them, what that cost would be? I don't know if you can physically do the water and sewer without it falling down around you as you're doing it. From what I've seen, I mean, I sit in there and I can look through the walls,
Yeah.
And
at the
ceilings.
joints in the concrete block.
And the ceilings.
The windows are the tightest area in the whole building.
And that
That's
may
only the
be the
glass.
answer.
That's only the glass.
That may be the answer,
Yeah.
right? But I think we're going to get the question.
Yeah, so we'll prepare that answer. But
And the other thing I was thinking is the swing space you need to get in order to do the town hall space.
Mhm.
Because you have to keep that whole department operational and everything.
Yeah, and if the building's full,
Right.
right, like, we don't really have that option to move them anywhere else. like we would have to probably lease space. Like, for example, in 2017, when they did a renovation of the second floor of Town Hall, they leased a part of the old
So,
Glavin property, and actually, they leased it for the library first.
the library.
It was the library first, and then the library was complete, they did that
yes.
Yeah.
project at Town Hall. And so like DPW had to move out for like 3 months or whatever it was, so.
We also have a chance to lock in prices now at today's rate with the construction manager, with the, you know, with everybody, as opposed to waiting 18 months to 2 years. We don't know what that would be.
Right.
It's one of the advantages we're able to have with the police station, is that we're able to lock in everything early. We don't know what's gonna happen 2-3 years down the road, when we would be ready for the town hall. We already know, if we do it now, we already know what that cost is gonna be, and we don't know what it's gonna be 3 years from now.
It won't be less.
It will
Yeah,
not
won't
be.
be
Guarantee you that. Is there any way to put a number, or if it's worth it, on the savings that will keep paying the town back for efficient HVAC systems? Like for the town hall especially, you know, with some of the units that I read in the report, you know, they're not,
Yeah, so I think that would be a guess,
yeah,
because without the system actually being fully designed,
Yeah,
I
right.
think it would be really, like we did that for this building, but the analysis came way beyond 60% design before we could get, you know, the engineer that designed it, you know, gave us.
but even be able to control the zones in town hall is gonna be, I mean, that's a
It'll be
no-brainer.
very efficient, right? Like right now, the system works off of, you know, each wing of that building works off of 2 thermostats,
Right,
right? So, you know, you walk from one room to another room, you don't necessarily have the same
Right.
temperature. The building is still subsidized by electric heat. You know, all those spaces have electric heat, from the 60s, you know, so when you, and I would say that the HVAC system that's on that building isn't really capable of doing what it's supposed to do. That's why they kept the electric heat to keep, you know, to subsidize that.
and I think it points that out in the
Yeah,
report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Beth. I think the question is gonna come up, but I think we really have a very fiscally strong story to tell that I think will affect the vote on the, you know, I think it'll lead towards, you know, people leaning towards doing what we wanna do, or what needs to be done, as opposed to just patching.
Yeah.
Because patching leads to more patching, and that leads to more expense, and, you know, in the long run,
Yeah, and I think.
it's not fiscally prudent.
And I think, you know, the committee's charge since day one or mission has been to create a functional, sustainable, efficient space, right? Like, we're
Yep.
not building a magazine cover.
Mhm.
This building needs to do what it's supposed to do, needs to offer our employees a better place to work, and then fill all the programming needs
Yep.
required for DPW.
Yep. Agreed. Thanks, Beth. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else? Good. All right, that brings us to item number 6, review and discuss outreach.
So I don't have anything prepared for that, other than, you know, if anybody put into this, the thought into what we wanna do after town meeting, provided this is passed. What maybe some next steps would be, you would like to see or do, or form a subcommittee, totally open to anything.
Can I just ask, ahead of town meeting, is there excerpts from cable from your presentations that you can put out for the town meeting membership through cable, so they can, if they haven't already, and maybe they already have, again, I'm new, so I just may be ignorant in terms of how involved people
So-
are and what your presentations have been to
So
date.
we can probably look at that, so Taylor's putting out her final town meeting email Friday morning. So we can probably look at some items that might be of value to
We can just cut out,
put, yep,
piece
or,
from one
or
side.
maybe we can link them to our page, which has, a bunch of information, and I believe some of the presentations are on there, right?
But like the link you sent today, we all scrolled over because you told us the time.
Yeah.
But if we can tell cable the time, splice here.
Yeah, we
splice
can do that.
here,
Yeah.
And then someone doesn't have to
Okay.
do anything.
We can do
That's
that.
a good idea. Yeah, that'd be
You
great.
can just watch.
You know,
Okay.
to that point, as part of the presentation at the special town meeting, are we gonna have slides of town hall in terms of exactly what's gonna be renovated and
So-
what needs to be done?
I think what we talked about for town hall is we're gonna show some existing conditions
Mhm.
photos. I'm not sure if we really have anything tangible enough to put up on a screen
Okay.
to show renovations, because it's a lot of it, other than when it gets put back together, I mean, it's all kind of behind the curtain.
Behind the
kinda-
scenes, yeah,
Behind the scenes
yeah.
kind of stuff, right? Like, it's all on the walls.
Yeah,
You know, the goal is that it looks essentially the same,
Yeah.
except for the popcorn ceiling.
Yeah.
When it's put back together. So,
I mean, I think the second floor has some challenges with space,
it certainly does.
where
and I-
that you can maybe take some
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bathrooms.
and the bathroom.
bathroom.
Bathrooms are probably the most annoying.
The pink
Yeah.
one downstairs.
Yep.
That was like being at my grandma's house.
Mhm.
Love Taylor help me with
Pink
that one.
tile, pink tile.
At least it doesn't have a pink sink, though.
No, for the tile. Yeah. Just again, maybe it highlights some of the accessibility, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously we can live with pink tile, but
Sure.
you know what we're more interested in is making sure that the spaces are accessible for
Mhm.
people,
Absolutely.
for everyone to be able to use the restroom at town hall.
Okay, you can do that.
We will set up a meeting for next week to be able to authorize the designer work. Because that isn't, the authorization at town meeting is one thing, but.
Yeah, but
this
then we have to
committee's
authorize.
Contractual authorizations is another.
That was my question. Once we vote,
Yeah.
we get a yes. Does that mean the money's available and we can start? Or do we have to wait? And what's the timing on that afterwards, so that you can get going and our,
Right. In terms, of when's funding available to.
when's funding available? It all breaks down to money, unfortunately.
Well,
Don't we have to vote?
I would say that we won't,
Down.
No, this isn't a debt exclusion, this one is not.
Okay.
No,
Just the design.
Oh, for the, right, right, I
Yeah.
get it.
the money exists, so that the money's there for
Right,
this.
that's right.
Right.
And we have to negotiate the contract.
Right.
So what would the vote be? Would the vote be to negotiate and execute the contract?
Or to, let's say Tuesday, we have a presentation or make a presentation that this is the contract recommended, and you guys take that under advisement and or vote to authorize it.
so I think usually we approve, whether it's the town manager or you, or who the select board, to enter into negotiations to complete that contract.
Would authorize you to.
Do we have to do that?
You guys usually authorized, you're not authorized to execute
Appointed by
contracts?
We
town meeting?
authorize the town
Yeah,
manager.
town manager sign it.
To negotiate with
Yeah.
and then sign the
That's what we did for
contract
the
with.
first,
Yeah,
for the first phase. Yeah.
so do we wanna,
Do that
Did
today.
we get a number from,
I
for
don't
the
think we
60%
can without.
design yet?
so they're working
No,
on
no,
that.
no, we can say,
But we need that
pending
first,
the
right?
approval of the article, we recommend that, I don't know if you can
I
do
think
that.
we wait on the
Yeah.
vote. I think we could book a meeting a week from
Yeah,
today.
let's not put the cart before the horse.
Right, and then we'll make sure that we get the the vote and motion correct.
Mhm.
We'll do that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, for next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday,
Yeah,
I'm not here. So you better have,
I'm here.
I'm not here. I'm
Okay.
out, Texas,
yep.
2
No,
weeks,
I'm here.
see my grandkids.
We're gonna have a quorum, Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
20th,
Okay.
20th,
yeah,
All right.
yeah, I'm here.
We're good.
20th, yeah, I'm good.
Sorry.
No problem.
That's right.
We'll get the room booking right.
All right,
this time.
I think we're back to outreach. So what happens after, let's say that we get a yes vote at town meeting. So then we're gonna have, we go forward with the 60%, we execute the contract, but then we have to get to the next phase, and that's where a lot of the outreach is going to come in terms of the April town meeting and a debt exclusion vote. So my understanding is that a committee is formed for an override committee, not an override, debt exclusion committee.
There'll be a campaign committee.
A campaign committee, yes, but we are not part
You are
of
not
that.
part of that committee.
Okay.
So then
Not-
where
yeah,
does
not-
that leave us in terms of outreach?
You just keep doing your work here, and we'll just keep plugging away at design work,
Okay.
right? Because we got to get to that 60%.
Yep.
Simultaneously, the campaign committee will be, explaining to the voters what's before them
Okay.
on the ballot.
So that would be the majority of the outreach then?
That is the
through
outreach.
Through the campaign committee.
That is correct.
In the meantime, we also need to get the CM process started
Yes.
and run through.
Yep.
So we start the designer, and not that, hopefully, we get the state to approve quickly, then we start that process.
Mhm. Correct.
So do we need to, are we gonna do it as a committee, or I heard about a subcommittee to select the CM, or?
Well, no, not for the CM, that would be full committee. I was just, and Beth explained it for me, so I guess we don't need that, but
Okay,
the subcommittee for outreach was what I was
what you were looking for.
mentioning, yeah.
Just like
So
when
we
you
can do-
did the police station.
No, and I think that's better. It keeps us focused on the task at hand, and the campaign committee does their thing.
Also because you can't use public funds.
Yeah.
In a campaign, so kind of have to keep it separate.
I do think as we get closer to town meeting, we should, as a committee, have, community session.
Public
to-
hearing.
Public hearing, yeah, to
Yeah.
go through the process, explain it,
Yeah.
show everything with it, and that would probably, I would suggest that would probably be sometime in March, when we would have some really good documentation and plans and conceptual items in place so that we can share,
The numbers may have matured by then too.
Right, and
A little
like I
bit
said,
more.
that'll start preparing us for the town meeting presentation, make sure that we
Yep.
have all the right questions, and we'll build a really good presentation for that.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little practice.
Yeah, I think community outreach meetings are
Mhm.
important.
Not to get too far ahead, how do we solicit for invites to or for CM bids? Is that by invite, or is that by advertising, or?
Advertise it,
Yeah,
yeah,
advertise.
it's a public process we have to go through. Chapter 149A lays it all out for us, how it has to be done, so.
Which again is why we're hoping for the December approval.
Right, just gives them steps, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully. Can't believe we're at November 13th already. All right, anything else on outreach?
Yeah, the senior men's club had contacted
Oh, yes.
our office and inquired if there's interest from the committee to do a presentation to that group. So they meet on Thursdays. The next upcoming availability they have is January 2nd.
I may or may not have said I'm okay with it.
What time do they meet?
It's,
Morning.
It's, I think it's
9:30.
9:30 is the presentation part. If we want to join them for coffee, no quorum at that part, but yeah, it could be a subcommittee of the group, or it could be the entire committee. I have no problem
I just
posting
need
it
to know
as a
so I
meeting.
can make myself available through work.
Yeah, so January 2nd, which is a Thursday at 9:30.
And they're actually kind of a neat group to
Yeah.
be in front of. They ask you all the questions,
I'm sure they do.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would we do a formal type of thing and with a Q&A after?
Yeah, to like 20-minute presentation, and then they'll fill the
Q&A.
rest of the hour with questions easily.
Okay.
I'll add that to everyone's calendar then.
Yeah, tell them, yeah. I mean, I can be there, I know that.
I can be there.
And then after that, I don't know what the meeting schedule looks like going forward in January. I know the following week I will be out for a short period. I have to have a procedure done on my thumb. That could be like a 2-week recovery period.
Mhm.
So I may miss, I'm not sure, a meeting.
So that means you can't do this?
Well, see, I barely can. I can barely write my name right now. so we will get that corrected. Then we'll be good to go. Get the golf game back in shape. So we don't know what our meeting would be after the 20th then? We have next
No,
Wednesday.
I think we get through town meeting and then work on that.
Okay.
I think we could probably have a fair amount of time between meetings, because
Okay,
as we get the designer, in their mode, it'd be a little time before we get them back for a presentation,
Okay.
I imagine, so we may not meet for a month,
all right.
something like that, like, we'll see how that plays out.
Okay. Item 7, other business. Anybody have anything? Eerily quiet. All right. And I guess that's it. Well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Opposed, so voted. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks.
thank you.